Hello and welcome to another episode of the Happy Movie Mangoes. Today we are talking about our top five favorite TV shows of all time. So I know movie is in our name, but we're talking about TV.
Oh yeah, we're kind of liars. So
Hmm.
hmm.
Oh, also Dallin is not able to make it with us this time. So we've got his notes with us and we'll add them in as we go.
Yep. You want to start us off, Spencer, with your number five, fifth favorite TV
Yes.
show of all time?
So I was gonna ask you before I decide. So if I've only seen one season of this show, can I count it in my top five?
Yes, and I say yes because I think me and Dallin have included we say we like this show, but just for like the first few seasons, or we like this.
Oh, okay.
So I
Okay.
think if you really like the show and you just like the first season, I think that's fine. And you haven't seen the other stuff, it's cool. So,
Okay. So my fifth favorite show is called Money Heist.
mm.
I don't know if you've heard of it. I think it's on Netflix, but it's a Spanish uh created show. And so it was dubbed when I watched it. And I don't remember why I watched it. I think I was just like browsing Netflix and I decided to watch it. But it's all about taking over this famous bank, which I can't remember the name of it, but I don't know if I should spoil it,
Oh yeah,
but
just give the premise. Just give the premise. Or
okay.
is the spoilers within the premise?
Um, 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 I'll just say that they have this this guy creates a group of people and creates a plan to take over a bank, and that's where I'll leave it.
Okay.
There's really one aspect that I really enjoyed about the plan, and that's one of the main reasons why I liked the show. And I feel like it executed everything pretty well. I know there's more seasons. I started watching season two, but I did not finish it because I felt like I think the first season ended open-ended, like it could go anywhere, but then season two like set it in a specific direction, which I wasn't a super huge fan of, if I remember correctly. But yeah, Money Heist. I would
All
recommend
right.
season one at least.
All right. Dallin's fifth favorite TV show of all time is Big Bang Theory. And he makes sure to note that it's the first half of the show. So he
The
really likes
first
the
half,
yeah, he doesn't like the I don't like the second half either. So my opinion, it'd
what?
be less funny over time. And so here's what he says. So it's for those who don't know, it's about a group of nerds who meet a hot girl and basically just shows their life. It's a very funny sitcom. The humor is fantastic and the characters are like very enjoyable to see. But what ends up happening later in the show, and this is what me and Don both agree on, is the characters become stereotypes of themselves, like the very like Sheldon, for example. Like early in the show, he had like childish tendencies, and then later it's just like all he is basically just this grown adult child. He like doesn't understand any adult humor. It's like it's just and I also don't think it's as funny. So and he doesn't think it either. So
Well, I will say that I enjoy all of Big Bang Theory.
ah, one of those, huh? um
Yes.
my fifth favorite movie series of all time is Justice League, like the original cartoon Justice League show.
I have not seen that.
So I recommend it. It is very slow, but I recommend it. It's essentially like Star Trek for kids with like DC superheroes. So in like Star Trek, it's like you have these group of like moralistic people from different backgrounds all come together to try to solve like these different ethical and moral problems. So that's essentially what like Justice League is. There's like twists and turns, and they learn to work together and overcome themselves to be part of the team. There is like quite a few episodes where you probably don't need to see, but most of it's great.
Yeah. Cool.
All right, what's your
All
number
right.
four?
My number four is Phineas and Ferb.
All right.
I grew up watching this show. If the theme song came on, I could probably sing along with it still to this day. It's one of those cartoons that the show has this like each episode has a format where it's like they do this crazy thing. The sister's trying to catch them, and then it all goes away right before
Mhm.
the sister can get him caught. That's like for every episode. Actually don't know if I've seen every single episode, but I've seen a lot of them, and I just really enjoy it. So,
Yeah. Doofenshmirtz is definitely my favorite character. So,
yeah. Sorry. I just remembered one important thing about the show is I love the videos today where people find things that are like blue and orange, and then they add something brown on top, and they're like,
oh yeah.
Harry the platypus. Even though it looks nothing like a platypus, like
Uh-huh.
it's like a meme now. And so I like
Yeah.
that too.
Yeah. Yeah, I love Doofenshmirtz quotes in that show. I just love his relationship. Like the best part about his relationship with Perry the Platypus is like Perry the Platypus doesn't say anything, so he's basically just making up like this relationship in his head.
That's true.
Yeah. So my fourth favorite, or actually I'll start with Downs. His fourth favorite show ever is Psych.
Hmm.
So he have you seen Psych, Spencer?
Me and Julie are watching it right now. We are on almost done with season 3.
Oh, excellent. Okay. So I really like it. Dallin really likes it. He likes it for the humor, obviously, and he thinks like and with that humor, like the premise where he's just like faking being a psychic all the time. I remember you were saying like you didn't like it when he just like flails around and like acts ridiculous all the time.
Yeah, so I think that's more in season 1 where he does that. But that was so cringy to me. But now it's better. Like he's not quite flailing around as much in season 3, at
Yeah.
least where I'm at. So
I like it when he does it because it's just funny that everyone knows he's like full of crap but puts up with it. So
yeah.
yeah, so I think that's good. My number four is Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad, I think, is considered like one of the best shows out there, and I think this is one of the few shows where people say that, and it's true. Like, I don't think Sopranos is good or The Wire, but I really love Breaking Bad, and I think it's because of the premise and the events within the show. So, for those who don't know, because if you should know what Breaking Bad's about, but for those who don't know, it's a chemistry teacher who gets cancer and decides to team up with his former student to make himself meth so his family can have a ton of money before he dies. So it's he's kind of on the clock to get it done because it's like stage four terminal, you know.
Mhm.
I like it because it's kind of like a very well done version of Citizen Kane, where it's this man who comes from like humble means and eventually becomes like a bad A, but then he becomes just a bad person. So
Yeah, I have not seen all of Breaking Bad, but I remember the little bit of season 1 that I did see. It was really good.
yeah, definitely throughout the show, like I think there's a lot of episodes or a lot of parts where it's like boring and pointless, but the moments where stuff does happen and where it is good is where you gotta watch it. So,
Yeah.
all right, what's your number three, Spencer?
My number 3 is SpongeBob SquarePants. I also grew up with this show. I will say I believe I have not seen the newer episodes, and I believe I've heard they're not as good as the old ones. Like I think
Oh yeah.
the I don't know if it was the original writer or creator of the show, but I believe he passed away, and so then like someone new took over and it's not as good. But I think it's really funny.
Mm.
Especially Patrick Star and the dynamic between SpongeBob and Squidward. I don't know, each character is so iconic and they have very specific like goals. Like Mr. Krabs always wants money. Mr. Plankton always wants the secret Krabby Patty formula. SpongeBob
Mm.
always wants to work. Squidward always wants to get away from SpongeBob.
Yeah.
Um, I just think it's great. And the other reason why this is number 3 is there's so many memes from the show. And like there's so you can just screenshot like in every episode, there's a screenshot where you can just make it a meme and it's very relatable and funny
Yeah.
because of like SpongeBob's expressions and stuff like that. So,
Which of the seasons do you recommend in the show? Like, how many seasons do you would you?
oh, I have no idea. So, the way I watched most of it was at home on TV, and it wasn't like It was before streaming, so like
Mm-hmm.
I just watched whatever was on.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know like the order of the episodes and stuff like that. I don't even know how many seasons there are, but
Probably
yeah.
like at this point.
I guess I mean I don't think I've seen any of the new ones, but I would guess that would be like the stopping point.
Okay. So Dowd's third favorite show of all time is Daredevil. So
I have not seen that.
it's like so this was like really popular. This is like back when Netflix was good. And so this was like a Netflix made show. And so I like tried watching it 2 times and immediately stopped just because it was like the two parts that I ended up like just happenstance watching was like the most violent parts of the show. But a lot of people they really like it, and it's not just the gore and the violence. It's like they like the characters. Down likes it because it's very realistic for a superhero show. It's like the action and just this reality of like society and crime is just very realistic. So very gritty. And so I think like that's like a way to respect it. Because I think most superhero shows, one, they're like they tone it down because they want kids to watch it. But yeah,
What's the
anyway.
premise of it?
So Daredevil, he's a superhero where he has an accident as a kid that blinds him but gives him superpowers. So he has like super hearing. I think he can have a super smell or something like that. And so he learns to like use that to like fight crime. So he like trained under a ninja called Stick, and so he just goes around tries to fight crime. He's also like a lawyer by day, so that's his alter ego. He's like
Hmm,
just this pro bono lawyer who tries to help people, and so that's kind of what the show is. It's like part of its what he does practice with law, and the other parts of what he's a superhero.
gotcha.
uh my third favorite show of all time is The Mentalist, and so it's have you heard of that one?
Uh-uh.
So there's this dude named Patrick Jane. So previously he pretended to be a psychic, and but what he really is he's just like a specialist on human behavior. So he can like appear like he's psychic to people. And he tricked a lot of people into thinking he was psychic. And he was helping the police solve murders for the serial killer named Red John. And he basically insulted Red John on live TV. So Red John killed his wife and daughter. And
Ooh,
so, yeah. So now, like, so that's the premise of the show. And the whole show is Jane just helping the police solve murders just so he can work on the Red John case. And so, why I think this, like, show sticks out above all other detective shows is because Jane doesn't believe in, like, the justice system of the law, right? He believes in personal revenge, and a lot of what he does throughout the show reflects that. But he's also kind of like a troll and likes just messing with people, you know. So he's very cynical. So I watched this when I was a kid, like when I was becoming a teenager. So Patrick Jane's kind of like angsty, and like at the time I could relate to him very well. So he kind of does some childish things as well, but I think it's a really good show. And also the same thing with like the murders. Like every TV show, every detective show has the exact same episodes in them. The way he reacts to everything and how he handles situations is just different than how most people would.
mhm.
Because most people want like let's call the cops and catch the guy, and he'll like if he thinks someone deserves it, he'll torture him. So
Oh, gotcha.
yeah. So he's just very funny. So what's your
And
number two?
that was called The Mentalist.
Yeah, The Mentalist.
Oh,
So
okay.
I only recommend the first few seasons. Definitely you should probably watch it to the end if you're gonna watch it, but the beginning of the show is way better. So
Yeah. All right. Well, my number two is The Big Bang Theory.
oh
So I really like The Big Bang Theory. My wife and I have watched it all the way through multiple times. I just think, I don't know, the character of Sheldon is like what holds the show together. I mean, the other characters are important too, but that's like I think a lot of the humor is driven around him.
mhm.
Um, and so yeah, it's just a really well done sitcom that I really enjoy. And I enjoy all of it.
Have you seen the prequel show Young Sheldon?
I started watching it. I have not watched it all the way through though.
Okay. I'd be interested to see what your thoughts are about that show.
Oh yeah.
Because it's not like the sitcom thing where you have like a laugh track audience and it's like staged like
Hmm.
a sitcom. It's like an actual like
It's more narrative than
yeah,
sitcom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big Bang Theory is good. It's funny. So good. So Down's number two favorite show of all time is Prison Break, but just the first season. And so, just to explain the premise, the main character's brother goes into prison, and you find out it's like he was basically framed for a crime and for killing like the vice president's brother. And so they're going to execute him. So his brother goes into so the main character also commits a crime so he can end up in the same facility as him and then just has like this super immaculate genius plan of how to escape. And
Mhm.
so part of like the main character's skill sets is he's an architect. So he spent like months preparing to like go into the prison, find the exact routes, how to break out, all the tools he needs.
Mhm.
So it's very smart.
This sounds like a show that I would enjoy.
Yeah, I definitely give like the first two seasons a shot. I've watched all of it and it sucks. Well, the this after that, but the first season is like amazing. Like you'll love it.
Oh,
You'll like I definitely
yeah.
recommend like to watch that. It has a lot of good twists. The character interactions are really like good. And part of the thing about the show is something always goes wrong. And Michael has like this really smart way of like getting around it, right? Or like working through it. That's his second favorite show. My second favorite show of all time is Rick and Morty.
Oh, snap.
Yeah. But I only do like the first two seasons. I think, in my opinion, it drops off after that. And my evidence is people were super hyped up for the third season because of the first two seasons. And then after the third season came out, you never saw the same hype again because people realized it wasn't as good.
Mm.
But, anyways, the premise of the show, it's kind of like a Doctor Who and Back to the Future parody where this mad scientist and it takes his grandson on all these like crazy adventures and they're kind of like like the grandpa's like a drunk who like makes mistakes all the time and does a bunch of stupid stuff and the grandson's basically like this kid who just has to deal with it. And so but really the show is about like family relationships. Like it has some really meaningful stuff about like husband and wife and parent and child and like creator and creation. And so it's like super intelligent but also very funny.
Yeah.
All right, Spencer, what is your favorite show of all time? Your number
It
one.
is The Good Place. Have you seen that?
Yep, yep, I've seen it.
Have you seen all of it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So the main reason I like it is because of, well, the main reason it's my favorite, I should say, is because of the ending of season one. It's like the biggest, like, so when I was introduced to the show, it was not spoiled to me,
Good.
but the ending of season one, I'll just say that it's really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
If I say any more than that, then it would spoil it. But
Mm-hmm.
I also enjoyed the other seasons as well. I do think season one is the best though.
Yeah.
So if you do watch it, I would definitely do season one. And then you'll want to watch season two because of the ending of season one. And it just kind of like traps you in that way. But yeah, I think it's really good. And I really like Janet. I think the idea of a computer that's like a human is
Uh-huh.
hilarious. So,
Yeah. Yeah, she's funny. So me and Down's favorite TV show of all time happens to be the same.
oh,
So it's Game of Thrones.
oh,
And so to give like a premise of the show, it's set in like this magical fantasy world, right? Kind of like Lord of the Rings, except there's like less magical stuff. It's like much more like history based than it is fantasy based. And
mhm.
so the main plots that involve the show is like people just want to take over the Iron Throne. So you have these like several houses who are scheming and warring against each other to take over. But it has like some of the most relatable and likable characters in any like TV show history. So you just get like sucked into like this world and you like, you feel good when they feel good and you're heartbroken when something horrible happens to them. So most people, when they watch it, they have to see it all the way to the end because they just love it so much. And I would also include House of the Dragon with that. House of the Dragon is currently coming out with its second season. So I really like that as well. It's definitely a different pace show, but I think it's really good. Game of Thrones, I think, it's much more you get more attached to the characters. So
I started watching season one of Game of Thrones, and I don't think I watched enough to get invested in the characters.
Hmm.
So, but I've heard so many good things about the show that I'm sure like once you get invested, then like it's really good.
Yeah. Season 8 is a bummer, but I think there was also some early on problems with the show that led to that. So, but it was also their last season, so they might have just given up as well. So,
Yeah. Wasn't there a super ton of hype about season 8?
yeah, it had like the most. I think it like set records for as far as how many people watched it. So,
Yeah.
when it came out. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, it was super good. I even like when we were in high school, like I wasn't watching the show at all and didn't know anyone that liked it, but I ended up just hearing about it just because it was that popular. So
Hmm.
it's like people treat it like it's events that happen in the world because that's how big it is.
Yeah.
So any shows that you wanted to put on there but couldn't find it within yourself to put them on there?
So I did have one. So if you would have said I couldn't, now that I'm thinking about it, I haven't seen all of the shows that I mentioned. But anyways,
Wait, what about The Good
uh
Place?
I've seen all of The Good Place
Oh, okay.
and I've seen all of The Big Bang Theory, but like Phineas and Ferb and SpongeBob, I don't know if I've seen all of the episodes of that. But anyways, if you were gonna say no, I cannot include a show that I haven't seen all the way through, which I am now realizing that was flawed. My backup for Money Heist was Friends, the TV
Oh.
show.
Hmm.
Um, the main reason there's a lot of great moments. I think it is like the one of the biggest sitcoms ever.
Hmm.
Characters are relatable and funny, except for Ross at the end. He's kind of the worst. But one of the reasons I like that show so much is anywhere you travel, it's always on cable TV. So like any hotel will always be playing Friends. So if you've seen the show, you can just kind of pick up wherever it's playing and
Hmm.
enjoy the show, which is super nice. And so that was my backup for Money Heist, if you wouldn't have allowed me to say that. But
Hey, good
it's in
backup.
my sixth slot right now. There's also there's so many good shows. It was a hard time narrowing it down. Like White Collar. I don't know if you've seen White Collar, but I really like that. It's like a
Down
detective
liked it a
show.
lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna mention some shows I liked that.
Okay.
Well, and this I like some stuff in Star Trek. I think if you want to understand a lot of comedy shows now, you gotta watch Star Trek like South Park, Futurama, Family Guy, a ton of different shows. All the creators love Star Trek, so they reference Star Trek all the time. So give that a shot. Or the Orville is really good too. Better Call Saul was one I really wanted to put up there, even though I'm like it's like consistently better than Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad just has better premises and events that happen throughout the show.
Hmm.
And so anime, One Punch Man's good. There's a new Suicide Squad anime coming out, like Izuka. I think it's great. Death Note was pretty good to begin with. The Harley Quinn show is pretty good. Monk's pretty good. Prison Break, like Down said. The Ted TV show that came out is hilarious. So
Oh, they
recommend
made a
that.
TV show of that?
Yeah, it's so good. It is so funny. Smiling Friends is great. That's funny. Futurama, My Name is Earl. And there was like a Modoc show that came out. It was like one season, but I thought it was kind of goofy and funny. So
Yeah. Looking at the TV shows I've seen, Lost, I really liked like the first three seasons of Lost. I thought they were
mm,
super good, but then the ending I did not like, and so that's why I didn't put it on the list. Oh, Avatar: The Last Airbender, that one I really
mhm.
like.
It's a good quality show.
McMillions, that is one of my favorite documentary series.
Oh
I don't know
yeah.
if you've ever seen that.
Oh, I haven't seen it, but
Yeah, it's super good. The Great British Baking Show, I thought about putting that
yeah.
on my list as well. It's a competition, but like you're rooting for everyone, which I liked. Whereas I feel
Mhm.
like I haven't really watched a ton of American cooking shows, but I feel like they're more like scary. I don't know
You don't
how to
like
put
Gordon
it.
Ramsay just like roasting you in front of millions, just
Yeah, yeah.
getting in your
Jury
face.
Duty. Did you ever see Jury Duty?
I don't think I've ever even heard of it. Is it?
Oh my goodness, it's so good. So they hold a fake jury duty, but this one guy thinks it's real. And this is like real life. Like this guy thinks it's a real life jury duty, and they film the whole thing. But everyone is an
Um,
actor in on
uh-huh.
it, and it's amazing. You need to watch it. The
Okay.
Dropout is really good. Arcane, if you play League of Legends, that's a great show. And I'll just throw in Queen's Gambit was really good, and Wednesday was really
Okay.
good as well. There's a lot of good TV shows.
Would you recommend The Office?
No, I
Oh, me too.
I cannot stand that type of comedy. I really enjoy the memes and clips
Uh,
from the show,
yeah.
but I cannot sit through like an episode. It is so cringy to me and like
Hmm.
I can't stand it. Same with like Parks and Rec or Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I think those are pretty similar too.
Yeah, I watched all of The Office and then just ended up not liking it. I think it's for the same reasons where it's like I think it's just like not that funny. I think there is something to like the atmosphere, but I'm just not in it. So
Mhm.
yeah, but I think that's like probably everyone's most favorite show. If I had to say what's the most popular show, it's like The Office. So
Yeah, which is crazy to me, but it is what
yeah.
it is.
Cool, cool.
Cool. Well, that's going to be it for this episode. Thank you for listening or watching if you're on YouTube. Make sure to tune in for our next episode, and we will see you in the next one.
Hmm.
Hmm.